I'll begin again. It's Wednesday, September 3rd, and this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Public Safety and Transportation Committee. At the start of the meeting, I'm joined by Councilors Lucas, Bixby, Block, Wright, and Greenberg. And we are taking up item 228-25, which is Her Honor the Mayor requesting authorization to accept Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 71, to authorize the installation and operation of cameras on school buses to enforce violations when a vehicle illegally passes a bus that has stopped to allow students to get on or off the bus. We're joined by Captain Devine. Do you want to introduce this for us?
Sure. Let me start going. Yep, back in January, the state basically made this legal, and the Mass is basically putting cameras on buses. So if someone goes through a school bus with the flashing lights out, the arm extended, they could be issued a $250 ticket. This to me is relatively new for the state, because if you go in other states like New York, this stuff, they do not only school bus violations, they do red light violations, they even do speed. So this is relatively new and interesting for Massachusetts, but the governor authorized it. Our city's looking to adapt it. And speaking to my counterparts on it from Peabody and Salem, who are kind of like one step ahead of us in this process, they see, when you see some of the videos of these violations, that it's kind of jarring, not wondering obviously how how we don't have as many injuries as we have had with these violations. But basically what happens, we've spoken to two companies so far. There's a few companies out there. Bus Patrol is one of them. They're willing to install these cameras on the buses. Newton has anywhere from 34 to 41 buses, depending on how you want to look at it. We'd install the cameras on the buses. Upon installing them, what happens if a violator goes through one of these cameras, it takes a picture of it at the end of the week or month, depending on, we haven't established that yet. Bus Patrol will look at them. They'll basically weed the ones out that they find to be like truly like either an error in camera or error whatever, and then they'll send them to the Newton Police Department. At that point, we still have to make an SOP on it, a standard operating procedure, but right now it'll be either myself or maybe Sergeant Schlegel who reviews all of them, validates it, issues it, and then Paw Patrol basically will mail out the ticket to the owner of the vehicle. The citation is $250 for your first offense. The citation would go to just the owner of the vehicle, and they don't know about the operator. There's a lot of language in here that they want to respect people's privacy, so they're not going to go too much into taking pictures of who's driving. So if they got the plate XYZ and it goes to the owner of XYZ, that citation is going to be mailed out to the owner of XYZ. If it happens to be a corporation, like we'll just say Amazon that gets a ticket, Amazon will be on the hook for the ticket. There's no points on your license for it. There's the owner of the vehicle. So hypothetically, maybe it's my vehicle and maybe it was my nanny who's driving the vehicle. If you want, you could always say it's the nanny, and then would just have to agree to. So there is different ways to kind of give that citation to that person. But there's a lot of language in this law that keeps privacy for people intact, and also doesn't hurt you long term on it, meaning like give you points on your license and stuff like that. But it is a $250 offense when it does happen the first time. That money, of all the money, would go to the city. The city, whoever it comes to an agreement with, either Paw Patrol or Sensor or one of the other companies, would have a formula on how obviously these companies get paid for the work that they're doing with their technology. And yeah, is there anything else I can add on that at all?
Well, I'm just looking at, we don't have the language of the statute
Yep.
in the packet. So, Ms. Flynn, is it possible to put that up on the screen so we can all look at it? I think my questions really revolve around the privacy element of things, and when we start talking about cameras and filming, what potential ramifications or downsides does that have, or have any communities come across incidences where there were unintended consequences to deciding to start filming?
Can I add a few more things to it as I'm kind of thinking of all the different things of this? Right now, no city or town that I'm aware of has it actively going in Massachusetts. we're probably, I would say, halfway towards activating it full time. Peabody, Salem, those communities are maybe a little bit further along in the process. I reached out to some counterparts in Providence. They have it going. They kind of like it so far, what they have. To add to your privacy concerns, there's pictures and videos taken. Once it's deemed it's not an offense at all videos and recordings will be discarded within 30 days. This is state law. Anything that might be used for maybe a court hearing, because for instance, I might give Dan Devine a ticket for this and Dan Devine wants to appeal it. There's language in place to keep that video or that thing for a year up into that. But after a year, it has to be discarded too. So the state's taking a lot of pride in kind of making sure that it's not taking pictures of people. It's trying not to. It's not promising, but it's trying. It doesn't intend it. And all videos and things will be deleted in 60 days, 30 days, or within a year.
Okay, we have a couple hands up, so let me start taking some comments and questions from counselors.
Sure.
Counselor Wright and then Lucas.
I have a question. So is the city paying for these cameras and are they going on private buses? And how is that relationship worked out?
Very good question. We are in the middle of a 5-year deal with Eastern Bus. We've spoken to Eastern Bus. Eastern Bus has expressed concerns. Their main concern is having these cameras put on the side of the buses and maybe weakening their control system because you're adding another electrical component. But I'll give you an example. Bus Patrol says it will have no effect on their buses, and they've had no reports of it affecting on their buses. So we are working with Eastern Bus. Eastern Bus has the incentive to join us because by adding cameras onto it, like the numbers are startling on how many violations each community is getting. I'm trying to find the stats right here in a minute. When's the next question? But there's a lot of violations. So if we have these cameras on it, we're going to slowly see a decrease in this violation, and obviously improving the insurance liability for these bus companies, because now people know don't pass these buses, because if not, you're going to get a $250 fine the first time. I think the second offense is $1,000.
So
Right.
we're paying. So we're paying for the cameras and are we paying for the installation? And
Yeah.
then if we change bus companies after 5 years, then we can take these cameras off and put it on another bus company's
Yes.
buses?
Yep. It's up to the city right now. We're looking to get this approved so we can do it in Newton. Like I said, we have, I think, 34 buses that would be kind of eligible at the very least. And I'm not sure if we want to do all 34 buses or maybe trial it on maybe buses that hit certain routes. Like, so that's still we're still a little bit down on that. Each bus, I believe, we'll just use Bus Patrol as the example, just to give you some numbers. It would be like $250 per bus for a month. And then every ticket issued, they get a portion of those tickets, and the rest of the funds would go to the city.
So we wouldn't pay for the camera on that. That's part of this contract.
Pretty much, no. And speaking with Bus Patrol again, I know I'm going to use them as an example. They've also given us language where if we're not generating the amount of fines to offset the cost, that they will waive those fees in the end.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
All set, Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Okay, Counselor Lucas.
Thank you, Chair. Captain, how are you?
How are you, sir?
Long time no see. So I have a bunch of questions, and I hope you answer them. So where on the bus will the camera or cameras be installed?
On the side of the bus, and I believe on the arm of the bus when that stop sign springs out. So we'll just say hypothetically a car goes through it. When it springs down, a car goes through it. The intelligence of the cameras and the software allows them to take a picture. Bus Patrol will get all these, and then they'll weed out the ones that were maybe in error, because might be like they took a picture of something or whatever. They'll weed out the ones that I don't have to see, and they'll send me every other one. So it's not Bus Patrol issuing Dan Devine that ticket. It ultimately is going to be an authorized Newton police officer who says, "Yep, that is a violation."
Okay. So the cameras are gonna record cars and vehicles going past the arm when that flashing red is flashing.
Yes.
In state law, are bikes allowed to pass that as well, or do bikes also have to stop?
Very good question. As far as my knowledge of it, bikes are held to the same standards as a motor vehicle, but I doubt this is enforceable because we don't have a plate on a bicycle. You know what I mean? So But I mean, being a police officer for 21 years, I did the blue zone so heavily for so many years. I do see a decent amount of cars making this violation. I've never seen a bike kind of doing it, and it's sometimes scary when you see a car go through a bus stop sign. So
Yeah, of course. So the next question I have is,
okay.
who has access to view the camera? Is it just the camera company that who manufactures the camera, or is it a combination of them and the Newton Police?
Far as I know, it's bus patrol. We're only going to get the violators. We're going to deem, like myself, I'll look at it, I say citation or no citation, and I kick it back to them. And then I guess the good thing about bus patrol compared to the other companies, they'll handle everything from start to finish. They'll handle all the installation. They'll handle all the maintenance. They'll handle all the issuing of citations. The only thing I have to do, and sometimes it could be time consuming, depending on if we have 34 buses and the amount of violations. So we still have to figure out how much time that's going to cost of validating these. Once I validate it, goes back to bus patrol. They'll mail out all the citations. They'll also follow up whatever hearings that someone might want to have, because everyone has the right to appeal it, and it'll go before the Newton District Court. And bus patrol will provide someone to handle those hearings. Obviously, a lot of times with like motor vehicle, like speeding, for instance, people want someone like me to testify, like, the things, are the radars calibrated, stuff like that. So those get the same questions, like, how are those cameras installed? Are they calibrated? Are they this and that? And bus patrol will handle everything pretty much from start to finish.
Okay. My next question is, what is the procedure for out-of-state license plates? Does the department have access to view other states' RMV records?
Yep, I could view every state and find out who the names are and mail them the ticket.
All right.
And
Okay.
it just, like I said, it always goes back to the owner, and the owner gets no points on their license. If it's maybe my son driving, and I don't want to get them in trouble, I'm like, I'll pay it, and so be it. I don't get any points, but I still pay the $250.
Okay. And what if the violation occurs outside of Newton?
That's the I guess a bigger issue here is, like I said before, we have 34 buses that we know stay within Newton. Some of the buses go pick up children from other communities. We have no jurisdiction, or bus patrol have no jurisdiction in, like, we'll just say Cambridge or Boston or Framingham or whatever the community we're having children come in here for. I believe that their technology means that it's not going to be operating if we're picking up a child in Waltham, but once it hits Newton, it will be activated again.
Okay, so the cameras will not be activated outside of Newton.
Correct.
Okay, all right. I was thinking of sports, going to, wherever. Who do we play? Dedham, in baseball or whatever. I don't know if they're still in the Bay State League. You might know. It's changed a lot since the 90s. Let's see. And the cameras, they're just picking up video, not audio, right?
I think they're doing both. It helps, obviously, someone like me trying to make a decision, because some people might say, oh, the arm was springing out just as I was passing it. So I get to see, oh, that arm was clearly out. The car clearly went through it. And the video is great too, like, oh, geez, a child almost, it gives you the full effect of maybe either someone got close to being hit. So it really kind of justifies everything. We'll have the video, I guess, if someone wants to appeal it in court.
Okay. All right. I think that's all I have for now. And again, the cameras are not going to point inside the bus in any way. It's only
Nope.
outside the bus, correct?
Outside the bus is purely it.
All right. Thank you, Chair. I'm all set. Thank you, Captain.
Thank
And
you. Oh, go ahead, Captain.
I'll just give you one stat. I mean, speaking with Bus Patrol a few months ago, Bus Patrol reported from 7 buses during their pilot period. So people weren't issued ticket. They just pretended like they were doing it. So 7 buses during a pilot period program had 975 violations over 1 month. So imagine if there's 34 buses, how many violations we could possibly be looking at to validate, enforce, and to obviously improve safety too.
Where was that pilot done?
They did 2 pilots. I don't know if this was Salem or Peabody, but one of the 2 is what I've gathered.
Can you say those stats again, please?
This is a Bus Patrol is reporting that 7 buses during a pilot period program had 975 violations in a month. And so 7 buses, how many stops a day and stuff like that is it's a lot of stops. So it does happen. A bus will easily get 1 violation a day. That's why I believe that, I mean, the program will almost sustain itself in a way too. We don't do anything just to generate money, but obviously we have to make sure it can sustain itself, and this will definitely sustain itself.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just one clarifying question before I recognize the next counselor. So is the camera on all the time that the bus is operating within Newton, or it's only on when it senses the arm go up?
I believe, and this is one don't hold me. I believe it's once the arm goes out, it's like the cameras are ready to snap something that's going through, like whatever it's zoning out. So I believe, and it's only for the outside, so it doesn't have the children on in the bus. So I believe it's just when the arm goes out of the stop sign.
So you would imagine that there's got to be incidents, yeah, I mean, just based on what you're describing, that children's images are captured on the camera.
I would say not too many, because it's mostly capturing, like, if just picture, like if you're driving a bus and you look to your left, you really don't have many kids there. It's the street. You're just generally getting the street. The small chance you might have is a car going through a bus with a child in it, and that's not that it's good, but at least you could see the violation itself and see how egregious it is and how dangerous it was. That we can definitely just use it for court purposes if we have to, or really justifies what we're doing out here. Like
Okay.
talking to the PUD chief, their captain who does traffic a few months ago, he says once you, like, the pilot program, they were just reviewing the images, they weren't issuing out real tickets, but it goes, a few of them were just really scary and concerning how close we came to someone getting hit by someone going through a school bus sign.
Okay, thank you. Let me move on to Counselor Bixby.
Thanks. I guess I have a couple questions, but just wanted to start with some of the statistics we were just talking about. So I think just to add to what Captain Devine was just saying, what I saw was in about a month and a half, Peabody themselves had 661 vehicles failing to stop. And so that month in Salem was probably added. So a month and a half in Salem, it was over 1,000 vehicles failing to stop. So they estimated it was 3 illegal passes per bus per day for the pilots that they did there. So that's just startling and informative. I guess my questions are a little more procedural here. So the task in front of us is to approve the MGL section that then allows us to do this. And then after that, there's contracts and all of these other sort of nuances.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Great. So this is just the first step in a process to make any of this even possible.
Yes.
Great. Okay. I think that's it for me for now, but I think this is incredibly important and I'm glad we're discussing it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Block.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Captain, for all the work that you've been doing on this. Most of my questions are financially related, but
Sure.
before I ask them, do you get, or does somebody in the school department get complaints right now about kids being put in danger or cars ignoring the bus no parking arm sign?
Yeah, for many years prior to becoming a captain as a patrolman, I was doing a lot of blue zone enforcement. I would go down, especially like Spalding School on Brookline Street, certain streets where people are very eager to get to work wherever they're going. I would have no issue finding a school bus violation on any given day. Every week we'll get a different school saying, hey, can you help us out with this? We have a car going through a school bus sign. So we do have definitely enough of schools complaining that people are going through. Occasionally we'll get Regina Moody's in charge of the buses. She'll call out saying, hey, one of her drivers said that there's constantly these cars doing X, Y, and Z. Newton North, you know how they do the pickup at Albemarle Road? Those 7 buses line up there, and the middle school there call us every year because the cars just don't want to wait because Albemarle need to track us. So we get a ton of complaints.
Well, that's distressing, actually, but I'm glad that there is some activity there that you then respond to. So back to the cost and finances of all of this. So where's the money coming from, I guess, to pay the company that's going to install the cameras? Just, is that a grant from the state, or just how's that start?
right off the bat, I have to stress that whatever we do is not to basically generate funds. You know what I mean? No one wants to be pulled over to generate funds. With that being said, the average ticket's $250. Bus Patrol, for example, and even the other company will basically charge in the range of about $50 per violation to do all that they have to do from start to finish. And that 250 minus that 50, roughly 200 would go to the city's funds, and the city with a whatever per ticket can pay off each bus every month. And if we have, we'll just say 34 buses at $250, like the funds would go towards paying off that buses, and then the surplus can go to whatever the city deems appropriate on where they need those funds to go.
So is there no initial invoice, no initial bill from bus patrol or whichever company?
Part of this is this is relatively new things we're doing here, right? This is not like most, like a speeding violation, for instance. I would write it, I'd mail it to the merit rating board, they would mail it back. In the end, someone might pay $100, the merit rating board might mail Newton a percentage of that. I don't know the numbers on that. But in this case, it's almost like, we'll just say a marijuana ticket, where I issue so-and-so a marijuana ticket, $100. It's like it's going straight to the city instead of going to like the merit rating board, and then the city will. Part of establishing what we're doing now is not only getting the authorization from this council, is that we'd have to establish something with City Hall that they would track all these tickets and track who owes what and who's being paid. The PD will basically get these. We'll just say hypothetically, I haven't figured it out yet. Every Friday, I'll sit for 4 hours and review all these tickets and deem which ones. And at the end of it, I send it back to Paw Patrol. People mail in the money. That's why we had to work with the city, because this is not, the PD will not take any money. Someone in the clerk's office, like almost what they do with like collecting the marijuana fees, or maybe someone who fails to clean up snow, they would get the funds there, and they would use that fund or that account to pay off next month's bill to the vendor who's helping us provide us these services.
It sounds complicated. So
we're in new waters, so this is just
yeah.
Like
so it sounds like that if we approve this and we go ahead with this, somebody's got to, I mean, the city has to sign some contract with a company.
Yes.
That commitment, it sounds like, won't involve any initial out-of-pocket cost. Is that sort of a fair explanation? Is that my understanding?
Yes. Not that I see anything. It's a 5-year contract. Both companies I spoke to are looking at a 5-year contract. And the program kind of pays itself. One ticket a month will pay off the one bucket.
So the company that we contract with, they're getting $50 per violation, and they're receiving that after we get paid. I mean, the $250 ticket goes out, and let's just say it gets paid. It gets paid right away.
Yep.
Then we're tracking that and sending $50 to the company. Is that, or what?
We're stepping a little bit out of the policing realm, but from what I gather from Paw Patrol is with this one account that the City Hall will establish, Paw Patrol will have access. At the end of the month, we'll just say Paw Patrol is due $250. I have my children's cartoon show. Bus Patrol will basically go to that one account, say the 34 buses at $250. We take this out, and it'll be tracked obviously with someone with the treasury. This is not a police department thing at all. We will not track anything. Sure. I want no involvement in tracking any money. I'll just say, yep, that's a good ticket, or no, that's a bad ticket. Let the people at Treasury kind of deal with whoever they assign to kind of deal with this every week to kind of make sure that Bus Patrol, not Paw Patrol, Bus Patrol can take out the money from that one account. So I don't think it's going to be taken out. I think it's just it sustains itself. So I think it's pretty self-sufficient. I think it's pretty
good. Well, yeah. I mean, I can see that if the company is being paid $50 per violation, then there's $200 that the city's receiving to, for its general fund, or to cover the costs maybe related to administering this program. I'm just a little concerned about how bureaucratic this process might become, and I hope that there's automation of the ticketing and the tracking and the, authorizing, I know you're still working out all these details, but
Yes.
it sounds like the city's risk from a financial point of view is non-existent. Is that
I
fair?
would say I'm not a financial guy, but speaking to people involved in this, especially Bus Patrol, they kind of gave us a little rough contract that, you know what I mean? At the beginning, we expect to have the numbers higher because people are not complying. It's almost like going to a new street for speed. Numbers
Right.
can be high. We can say, maybe in 2 or 3 years, everybody's going to say, oh, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. But Bus Patrol is very good with saying if the 2 years left in this contract is not equaling out, they'll waive whatever fees it is. So I think the city's pretty much protected in taking any type of negative hit off of having this program.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Sounds
You're
very
welcome.
interesting. Yeah. That's it, Chair.
Okay, thank you. So Counselor Wright, your hand is just up from before, right? Okay, I'm gonna assume that Counselor Wright doesn't have any more questions unless she speaks up. So Captain Devine, I just want to make sure I understand the total sort of realm of violations. So this is specifically when that arm comes up, and I was just looking at the mayor's letter when Miss Flynn had it up on the screen before. I just want to understand the exact terms of the violation. So when a vehicle illegally passes a bus that is stopped to allow students to get on or off the bus. So in a violation occurs when the arm is out and the physical stop sign is raised.
Yes.
So let's say, you know how buses will put on their flashing lights, but won't always put out the arm?
Oh, kind of like one of those van type of things, maybe the smaller vans.
Yeah. Or like they're pulled over or something and they have the lights on, but there's no arm out.
Well, we're dancing in new territory, but right now we're only going to be installing them on those full-size yellow buses, so we don't have to worry about the vans for now.
Okay, I just want to make
If
sure
this goes well, and then they could develop the technology, and I don't know how like a smaller van, which picks up individual children, would work, but at least with this, we're only putting them up on those full-size yellow buses that seat like 50 kids or whatever you want to say.
Right, like I'm imagining, well, I'm thinking about a lot of different scenarios. One of the scenarios I'm thinking about right now, because you mentioned blue zones, is the one I'm most familiar with, the Ward School blue zone. The blue zone is sort of up front, and then there are always two buses that park right in front of the school. And I'm trying to remember if they have arms out or they don't have arms out, but the flow of traffic is if you have a spot in the blue zone, you pull over the blue zone. Otherwise, you continue circling around Dolphin Road and around and around and around, even if those buses are there. But
Yep.
children are getting on and off from like the sidewalk on right onto the bus. I mean, you wouldn't possibly be in a situation where you're where a car would be driving and a child would be trying to board from the other side of the street. I just want to make sure we're not like inadvertently creating violations and situations like that where we have an established flow of traffic.
Well, that's why the great thing is we had the review power of having an NPD officer validated. I'm certainly not going to issue someone or my sergeant a $250 ticket because of some technicality or
I
I'm
don't know.
And the good thing
So
about the school,
is it me freezing or Captain Devine freezing?
can everyone hear me right? Are we
I
good
can
now?
hear you, Captain Devine.
Yeah, I had a freeze earlier, but not just now.
Not then. Okay, I did, but I think what you were saying, the good thing is that you or one of your colleagues is reviewing this to establish that it's a violation.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone is not some officer. There's not some person at Bus Patrol who wants to generate some money for the company. Every ticket has to go through NPD's hands, and everyone is validated by us or disapproved. And another comment is obviously most of the schools lately have been added a little built-in inlet in there, so that the bus stop signs are when they're dropping off school and not the issue. It's more of the buses going from the regular streets to the multiple stops that it has along the way to get to school, and that's where we'll probably get most of our violations.
And essentially people are sort of passing them on the left. Is that
I used to do the Spalding School on Brookline Street, and you'd have cars going east and west on those. But that's before they built that little I don't know the proper term of it, where the bus can go into like the inlet and be off the road and safely drop off kids. This is when that school was dropping off the street. But left, east, and west, we see violators on either side. So yeah, the bus patrol will get violators heading in both directions.
Okay, and how long is the term? You said you talked to more than one company, but what is the typical term of a contract to do this?
Both companies so far have wanted 5 years.
Oh, okay, that's a pretty long time.
Which is,
Coun-
I think it's 3, and I'm not sure if they're willing to do the 3 and then 1, which is sometimes we do in the city, like especially with our uniform orders. I know we do that type of thing, but they've also promised that if, like you say, on the back end of it, if it doesn't generate what we're supposed to be doing here, it's not going to be a loss for the city on the last 2 years.
I mean, in addition to the different financial concerns that were raised, I suppose I just want to make sure, since this is new territory, that if we, somehow were displeased with, how it was operating or what was being captured, that we had some ability to not continue. Not looking at the terms of the contract.
Yeah.
That's not really something I could opine on, but just thinking about it as this is pretty new.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have anyone active in Mass doing it. Rhode Island has a few departments doing it, and they say it works pretty well, the program. So I haven't heard any complaints. The Mass chiefs, or not chiefs, the captains, lieutenants I spoke to, they reviewed the videos of some of these things doing a pilot program. They haven't issued any tickets yet, but they definitely see a good amount of violations, which would kind of make you cringe watching, like, where someone can almost have gotten hurt and that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
Counselor Bixby's hand is back up.
Sorry, I just wanted to jump in on the conversation about the actual violation recorded, because the MGL, I think it's pretty clear in the MGL. It says, one photographic image and one recorded video image recording the motor vehicle passing the stopped school bus with the stop arm traffic control sign in violation of the stop arm traffic control sign. So I think it is very much about those situations where that is out, which is not the situation that you're talking about, necessarily where they're waiting for kids to get on, at school dismissal or something like that. So anyway, just I think the language hopefully is somewhat clear in the law, so that we can be very specific and people can be assured those situations with that personal review that will happen, hopefully won't come through.
2 other questions about notice. How do you think we're going to inform the public that this is coming?
Well, the initial idea is, hypothetically, we'll say we get it started for October. I know it's not going to happen with October. What I would do is, we have 5 signboards in Newton. We could easily use 2 or 3 of those signboards, put them on key streets saying coming soon, that type of thing. So we could use our own signboards. Another thing too is we've spoken about is maybe for the first month of it, we just issue warnings for every single thing. So there's different options we could do to let people know that this is coming. Obviously, also reach out to the social media. We would definitely use our social media on it, but the signboards, social media, we have excellent PR department. Maybe we can do Fox 25 or something like that. Let them know we're doing it too. We would get the word out there, and then use maybe a 1 month period to, hey, this is your warning period. This is your warning month. After October, come November, it's ticket time. And then also too is the good thing is you're not going to be surcharged. It's not going to last forever on you. It's just you're going to get hit with $250, and that certainly makes people think twice.
Yeah, so I just had another freeze. Maybe it's on my end, but did you mention the mayor's newsletter?
Any mayor's newsletter, we have our own social media page. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, and all that type of stuff. So we can get on there. We use our big signboard to say, we use for 4th of July, stuff like that. So we'd have our own signboards, and we use that 1 month period of warnings, and people get mailed warnings in there saying, don't do this. And hopefully they'll get the picture real quick that we're serious about this.
And then the other question I had is, if you're reviewing these every week, what do you think the time lag will be between the time a violation occurs and the time the owner of the vehicle receives the ticket?
I know there's language in it. I know they want everything to be prompt on this. I don't have it. I think it has to be within 2 weeks or might be even 2 weeks that people have to be notified of this. I don't have the exact language, but there is something in place that says you can't get a ticket like 4 months later for something that happened in October. You know what I mean?
Right, I know, because when you were describing the situation of somebody else driving your car, a caregiver or a child, I was thinking to myself, gosh, would I, can you go back in time and remember who?
I'll try to look for that language as we're sitting here, but I know it's somewhere. I was reading the law today, and they said it was X amount of days. I think it was 14 or 15 days. It has to be mailed out or something like that.
Okay, Counselor Bixby, did you have something further?
Sorry, I just wanted to jump in again on the notification. The MGL also requires signage on each of the buses that is utilizing the system. I don't know if that's come up yet. So it will be clear in some way. I guess the contract would determine that, but that you're behind a bus that has this. So hopefully that helps a little bit as well.
That's very good to know. Do we have other comments or questions? Okay, is there a motion on the item?
Move to approve.
Okay, motion to approve by Counselor Lucas. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so that passes. Captain, I think my last request, which I should have brought up before the vote, is obviously if this moves forward, it would be great to keep an ongoing dialogue about how it's going.
Of course.
And, we have our periodic check-ins with the chief, which we're going to have relatively soon, but it would probably make sense to include numbers and statistics, around this in there, and just sort of be kept abreast of how the contract process and all that is going.
One of the good things about this law that was written in January is the law makes it mandatory for bus patrol to provide all their stats to the state at the end of the year. They're required by law.
Oh,
Bus patrol will also provide, I'm sure, stats for us. And one of the little, I guess, good things about it is they'll give us like an update every periodically where we're seeing most of offenses. So if the school buses are picking up, then we kind of know in the future, like, hey, this is Brookline Street. We're getting constant. Let's send more directed patrols down there. So we'll have a good amount of data gathered from that stuff too.
well, let's hope that we stack up on the low end of those violations. Not that I wish a high amount of violations of this nature anywhere, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of really scary decision making around driving, in our community and others. So here's hoping that this increases safety for everybody. So thank you
Yeah.
very much.
This is unique, and it's the first time we're allowing cameras en masse to do it. If this works well, who knows if they'll start doing it to red lights and to speeding areas and stuff like that, like other states typically do. So this is a new territory for mass, and we're getting started.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much. And we're adjourned at 8:09. Have a good night, everyone.